have a problem. Trump might be trying to secure power forever for the Republican Party. Now, this is not the same thing as him trying to secure power forever for himself. But there are a couple of classes of people who are more likely to vote progressive, and usually those people are disenfranchised. Disenfranchised people who are disenfranchised because of their disabilities or because of their age. These types of people tend to rely on early and mail-in voting a lot, and Trump seems to be wanting to get rid of that. We'll cover that as soon as we are done talking about a very quick diversion, which is the fan art section. So today's fan art comes here from Type 3 Friend. I said, hello, everyone. I've been a lurker of Suris' content for multiple years now, and I made a piece to show my appreciation for all of the videos, laughs, and I'm not going to be saying that last one. I'm not saying the last word in there. Go to the fan art section of the Discord and figure that word out for yourself. That is a problem for you to solve, not me. Anyway, they said, I plan on doing more fan arts in the future. Well, I appreciate it, especially given that this is just a really nice piece of me and my attitude towards Donald Trump himself. That all said, thank you for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section. That said, let's go ahead and pop over to today's article, and this is where I have to be a little concerned. So Trump is attempting to eliminate mail-in voting. Now, if you did not see the conversation between Trump and Putin, where Putin said there can be no election that is fair, that has mail-in voting, then that should kind of clue you in. That should kind of clue you in to where things are going. We all know that Putin is a despot, and given his track record, he definitely would kill any of his constituents if they happen to do the wrong thing. And Trump attempts to say that we in the United States are the only country that uses mail-in voting, despite the fact that there are several other countries that actually use mail-in voting. So in most other countries, mailing ballots to voters as a supplement to polling stations is considered the norm. It is considered a perfectly reasonable thing to do. And the United States has had mail-in voting as an option since the Civil War. So it's insane to me. It's insane to me that Trump is against mail-in voting if we were to take his words as truth. So Trump's words being that mail-in voting is unreliable, it's bad, it means that people can cheat easier, all of that doesn't seem to actually be the case. It seems to me that because the types of people who would use mail-in voting are the types of people who are more likely to not be able to vote, or where it's far more difficult for them to vote if they don't have access to mail-in voting, it makes a lot of sense that Trump would go this way because of them. Because you see, the goal of the Republican Party is not to eliminate voting at all. Just like how in Russia, Putin enjoys a facsimile of democracy, making it seem like his power that he holds is legitimate. In the United States, the Republican Party is looking at that and saying, that seems like a really cool thing to do. I think we're going to do the same thing. It turns out that the easiest way to convince a populace that they should engage in your democratic system while still undermining that democratic system is by propping up the democratic system in a way that only favors your party. The types of people who are more likely to be able to vote without any problem whatsoever are the people with the time and money to do so, which means the lower classes of people who will struggle to find the time and the money to go take care of getting their voting done in places that are eliminating mail-in voting and early voting, the likelihood that they'll be able to vote goes down significantly. That's what Trump wants. If you can disenfranchise enough voters, you can claim, oh, we've got democracy, we've got voting, we've got all of this stuff. Why are you saying we don't? Obviously we do, and on paper we do, but I live in Georgia, and I've watched Brian Kemp do this to try to disenfranchise black voters for years. The way Brian Kemp has been attempting to do it is by eliminating various voting stations that otherwise would have been used by majority black communities. Alrighty. That said, let's go ahead and take a look at what Politico has to say on this, and then we're going to play some Donkey Kong together, okay? Okay, so, elections can never be honest with mail-in voting, and everybody, in particular the Democrats, knows this, something that Trump wrote on True Social. Let's take a look at the actual vote. Let's take a look at the actual post here. In the actual post, he says, I am going to lead a movement to get rid of mail-in ballots, and also, while we're at it, highly inaccurate, very expensive, and seriously controversial voting machines, which cost 10 times more than accurate and sophisticated watermark paper, which is faster and leaves no doubt at the end of the evening as to who won and who lost the election. We are now the only country in the world that uses mail-in voting. Again, something that he is actually fucking lying about. All others gave it up because of the massive voter fraud encountered. We will begin this effort thanks to my good friend Putin, who definitely didn't have any dirt on me when we went in to have our conversation in Alaska, which my good friend Sarah Palin tells me that she was able to see Putin's house from her house. It's insane, it's crazy, but it's true. This effort will be strongly opposed by the Democrats because they cheat at levels never seen before. They cheated, and that's why I was not elected when Biden fought me earlier. And they cheated again, and that's why I was elected later. It doesn't make any sense to you? Don't worry, it's for big brain people. I will sign an executive order to bring honesty to the 2026 midterm elections. Remember, the states are merely an agent for the federal government in counting and tabulating the votes. They must do what the federal government, as represented by the President of the United States, tells them for the good of our country. That's right, everyone. That's right, everyone. It's here for you. Now, with the Democrats' horrible radical left policies like open borders, men playing in women's sports, transgender, and woke for everyone, despite Cartman assuring me woke is dead, and so much more, Democrats are virtually unelectable without using this completely disproven mail-in scam. Thank you so much, Putin, for helping me write this script. Elections can never be honest with mail-in ballots or voting, and everyone, in particular the Democrats, knows this. I and the Republican Party will fight like hell to bring honesty and integrity back to our elections. The mail-in hoax using voting machines that are a complete and total disaster must end. Now, remember, without fair and honest elections and strong and powerful borders, you don't even have a semblance of a country. That's right, I'm claiming America was not a country under Joe Biden. Thank you for your attention on this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Okay, cool. So that's what he had to say. Trump has for years opposed mail-in ballots, insisting that they played a role in voter fraud that he baselessly claims lost him the 2020 presidential election, despite the fact that he won the election before and the election after that. Those elections were fair, and the 2021 was not fair for reasons, I guess. In an Oval Office appearance with Ukraine President Zelensky, Trump said that lawyers were currently drafting the order. That's bigger than anything having to do with redistricting, believe me. And the Republicans have to get smart. We're not gonna have a country. In response to the request for comment on what the executive order would entail, Harrison Fields, special assistant to the president and principal deputy press secretary, said the Democrats have eroded our faith in elections. He says, President Trump wants to secure America's elections and protect the vote, restoring the integrity of our elections by requiring voter ID, ensuring no illegal ballots are cast, and preventing cheating through lax and incompetent voting laws in states like California and New York. It's not the fact that these are diverse areas that are filled with tons of people. That's not the reason they go blue. It's because of cheating and mailing in the votes. Historically, Democrats have returned more mail-in votes than Republicans, who more often try to vote in person. But the use of mail-in voting spiked dramatically during the 2020 election amid the COVID-19 pandemic and has remained higher in the subsequent elections. In 2024, Trump's campaign and the RNC disseminated information to help their base vote by mail, despite Trump's continued efforts to show disdain for the practice. So, what do we have here? And we're gonna go ahead and pop over. We're gonna pop over to Donkey Kong for a little bit since we're here now. Let's go ahead and talk about this. So what does this mean? This means that, as per usual, Trump, despite winning the last election, is gonna try to do everything in his power to make sure that elections are always won by Republicans going forward. Anything he can do to ensure that, he is going to try to do. And it's frustrating to me because I'm watching a despot freak out a ton when there is no reason to. Do we have any evidence that mail-in ballots have a significantly higher chance of enabling fraud? No, not really. Especially if he's doing the watermark paper thing. Wouldn't that just mean that we could just, you know, mail people the watermarked paper shit and then that would solve the problems? I don't know. This whole situation reeks to me. And we know why he's doing it. We know the reasons why he's doing it. He's doing this because he knows it will force Republicans to win more often in the future. Jassa points out we have evidence that mail-in voting is safe, secure, and accurate. True. But the thing is, when you're an older guy and you've done your duty to the country, you've done everything you need to do, you've done your work, you've retired, and you don't want to go out to your polling location because it's getting more and more traffic. I've been to polling locations when it's been super hard to actually get into them, and I've been to polling locations when it was easy to get in. In both scenarios, if I'm like an old geriatric person who's trying to vote to make sure that my kids are going to have a better future, I am more likely to just mail in my votes and treat it like my bills. Silver9 Wolf says more paper ballots in theory is better, right? He's pushing to have it. So yeah, no, that's the weird thing as well. Like he is quite literally pushing for more paper ballots. He wants less electronic ballots, more paper ballots, but he doesn't specifically want the paper ballots that he thinks are bad because they're the paper ballots that Democrats use more often than other ballots. Y'all, I'm so tired of political despotry. I am so tired of political despotry. You'd think, after all the fraud that this guy has been involved in, we wouldn't listen to anything he fucking says anymore. But a problem that you run into with the right wing, and especially the Republican Party at large, is that it doesn't matter what the integrity of the current person in power is in. It just matters that the current person in power is on your side, ostensibly. Whereas on the left, we try to hold our leaders far more accountable, and as a result, we create an Ouroboros where we eat each other constantly, and that has its own frustration. On the right, by comparison, you have a bunch of sycophants who are willing to just go along with whatever the hell God, I don't even want to call him the commander-in-chief. Technically, he is the commander-in-chief, but surely he doesn't deserve that kind of respect, and surely pointing out that he can throw our military at any nation would be, you know, not something we want to think about. I don't want to conceive of a world where Trump is able to throw our troops wherever the fuck he wants. But we already know that he would if he had the option. Commander-in-Queef? I guess, yeah, he is the Commander-in-Queef, but that just makes me sound like a 3-year-old. Like, I remember that word was funny when I was a child. That dipshit could work? Yeah, that dipshit would be fun. Taco-in-Chief. Doesn't he just want to throw our troops into DC? He has been doing that. Protesters have been fighting against that successfully, though. But he has been trying to just throw more and more troops into DC. Like, that is a thing that we have watched him do. And it's frustrating as hell watching a person who should have zero power just flex that power everywhere. Storm says, shit like this just makes me want to stop trying. You can't do that, though. So do you feel like this country is cooked beyond saving? So you can't just feel like we're cooked. Or rather, even if you feel like we're cooked, understand that the world where you give up is the world that Trump and his cronies are trying to engineer. It's the world that they want more than anything. You want to know what makes it hard to get Democrats and lefties elected? The current shit that Trump is doing. You want to know what makes it impossible to get them elected? Giving up. If you give up, they are guaranteed to win. If you don't give up, you have a chance. And I think that's the part that a lot of people don't realize. The reason that Trump is trying so hard to make it harder for Democrats to win elections is because he's scared of us winning elections. The reason why AIPAC and other right-wing organizations spend as much time and money as they do trying to rig elections against us is because of how powerful we are as a group when we get what we want via democracy. And it legitimizes the power of despots more when they eliminate our non-violent options and leave us only with the violent ones left. Fed posting is bad and wrong. I'm not about to Fed post. But I will say that the likelihood of things going our way goes down significantly if public pressure can only exist in the form of violence. And the longer a political despot eliminates our non-violent options, well, it's just simple math as to what options we have left eventually. And they win when we feel like we don't have any options left. They win when we start giving up. So it seems to me that the correct thing to do would be to not give up. Old Gus says AIPAC plays both sides as long as each supports the current Israeli government. So that's the thing. AIPAC does not support the left. I'm sorry. AIPAC supports Democrats who are right-wing. But AIPAC does not support the left. I'm never going to accept that framework. They play both sides of our political climate in terms of Democrats versus Republicans, but Democrats versus Republicans is not largely a conversation about who's on the left and who's on the right. More Democrats are on the left and more Republicans are on the right, generally speaking, but that's not a hard and fast rule. Storm says, hot take, Dems aren't the left, Dems are centrist at best. That's not even a hot take. That's not even really a hot take. That's just reality. The Democratic Party, as it exists, is not a left-wing party. Boy, howdy, I wish it was. Every time that Democrats at large are called, like, evil socialists or some shit, every time something like that happens, I'm just like, man, I wish that were true. Yeah, sir, that's an ice cold take. There's a website that shows which politicians took AIPAC money and which ones didn't. Yep. Rhyme Jack says, I keep hammering that into my mom. She's become very disillusioned conservative and I'm making progress. That's good. That's very good. Yeah, Open Secrets is the one that does the AIPAC stuff. Open Secrets is the one that does that. Is anybody in chat actually surprised? Like, let me know in the comment section too if this surprises you at all. Because for me, I'm just not. Like, we all know that Trump was going to try to do something about mail-in voting. He's been trying to do shit about mail-in voting forever. But make no mistake, the mail-in voting thing, this does not support Trump trying to maintain power forever. This is about the right wing maintaining power forever, for as long as they can, which is just as bad. Like, a J.D. Vance is gonna be worse than Trump. I'm just, honestly, I am as scared, if not more scared, of a J.D. Vance presidency as I am of a Trump presidency. Hell, the dude played Yawgmoth's Bargain in Magic the Gathering. I think that's a good enough reason to be scared of him. Storm says, I'm shocked that the Dems are rolling over and showing the right their tummy constantly. Newsom being the only Dem willing to retaliate also scares me because he thinks I'm inhuman too. Newsom's a piece of fucking shit. I wish that we had a better fighter right now than Newsom. And like, we have Newsom, we have Bernie, we have AOC. And like, I'm happy we've got Bernie, but he's not going to be around that much longer. And I'm happy we have AOC. But I feel like in a world where AOC is fighting Newsom for, like, the presidency, we're just gonna elect Newsom, because that's what the fuck we did against Bernie. Stop says, even Newsom isn't even that good. Oh, I agree. Jassa says, Ossoff would be a great president, but as you know, his seat is too important. Oh, yeah, no, if we lost Ossoff here in Georgia, that would fucking suck. But yeah, no, I think there's probably some bits of this video that's gonna get cut out by K-Fox, but truthfully speaking, the thing that matters the most in all of this, more than anything, is making sure that we stay vigilant, like as a group of people, not just as leftists, but just as people who want democracy to be a thing that is actually helpful and useful. And to do that, as per usual, one of the best tools you have access to is 5 calls. You can use that in order to talk to your local politicians, in order to figure out what they stand for, and to hold their feet to the fire. Kinmark says Tim Walz is our best bet if you ask me. Yeah, but how's he gonna be in 4 years? I'm also, can I be honest about something? I'm really sick and tired of old white man president. I'm really tired of old white man president. Like, I just do not want to deal with old white man president anymore. Jessica says Tim is actually 50. The dude looks way older than that. He's only 50? He's the same age as Kamala? But Kamala is 60, isn't she? Said, unfortunately, old white man president is the only person who can win. That's why Kamala lost. I don't want to believe that. I feel like that's incorrect. Like, here's the thing. That is a statement that is only as true as the old white men that voted for that president are alive. And as is the nature of old white men, eventually they fucking die. Jessa says, I'd love an Ossoff Crockett ticket. I would not mind Jasmine Crockett. I would not. I would love that level of sass aimed at Russia. I think that would be good. I really do think that would be good. Davinia says, do any of you think that Trump had Musk rig the election last year? Well, yeah, he did. Musk did rig the election, but the problem is that he rigged the election in the sense that he pushed the envelope through social media so far in Trump's favor that Trump was all but guaranteed the win just from that. Like, he didn't win it in the sense that he controlled voting machines via Starlink, unless we get some evidence that shows that's what happened. But I don't think we're going to find evidence that happened. I believe it is entirely reasonable to say that the election was rigged in Trump's favor, but not the way that Trump sees the term rigged election. In the way that somebody who studies memes and game theory would understand a rigged election. That's what it was more so than anything. Jassa says, I believe Kamala took a strong stance on Israel. She would have won. She lost by thousands of votes in specific states. Yeah, disenfranchising lefties was a really stupid idea. Disenfranchising lefties was a really dumb idea. Because the thing is, it doesn't matter how Harris would have gone about that in terms of the propaganda that would have been used against her. She would have been seen as a pro-terrorist Palestine sympathizer no matter what by the right wing. So it would have made far more sense to just fucking lean into that, right? Like, if you're already gonna be blamed for that, if the propaganda is already gonna say that, you may as well be on the right side of history instead. Fuck it. I don't know. That's all I got for this one. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Limor Pinku, Love Bunny Games, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Aurora, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it. Just a little bit.